What's going on, YouTube? Matt from GarageMC here. Guys, I gotta get a couple things out of my way, so stay tuned for this video. I'm gonna try and do this whole thing in one video, guys. I have that blaster that is a customer's quad, and then I bought the other blaster that I don't even think you guys seen yet, but I gotta take like the better parts of the two and make one decent running quad, and I gotta get it done pretty damn quick because I got a lot of stuff going on. So let me go ahead and clean everything out of the garage here so we can get set up, and I'll pick back up with you guys. We'll talk about, we'll look at both of them. I don't even really know what direction I'm going here yet or which chassis I'm going to use, but it's not going to be, you know, there's really no money going into it. We're just going to make a good one out of the two, and then I get to keep the spare parts, which is going to be pretty much a whole quad. So, and you guys know what my plans are with that. We're going to throw a 400EX on one of these blaster chassis. So let me clean all this stuff up and get both of those in here, and we'll take a look at what we got and come up with a game plan and start getting it cracking. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so it's really like windy out. The weather's been really funky this week, but I got the garage cleared out a little bit. Just so you guys know, this is that frame I was talking about in the live stream the other day. I'm going to swap all that stuff from that 400EX over to this one. I got some pretty good ideas for what to do with that. That'll be like a one, maybe two video little series thing. We'll just slap one of those together so we have a running 400EX extra to, you know, has a little beater or whatever. But anyway, here's the customer's blaster. You guys may have seen this in the background of, I forget what video it was. I think it was on a 465. We were building the wire harness, but here's the customer's blaster. So, not sure what year it is. I think it's a 2000 or a 2001. Supposedly his son rebuilt this whole engine. You can see it's got all new gaskets and everything on the reeds and everything. Supposedly it runs. I haven't heard it run yet, but it does not run well. He's got a Chinese carburetor on this thing. I mean, you can see the quality at work here. The exhaust isn't even hooked up. You know, so this is going to be like one of them things where if it's a little too messed up, he's going to get what he gets. But that's just it. So good parts that are on this are his seat. He's got a DG silencer, and newer tires. That's about it. And this engine. So everything else on the quad is pretty much going to be left over. So here's the blaster that I bought. This one is a 2000, I believe. I didn't break the VIN number down. It was, you know, just really just for parts. They're all the same from like, I think it was what, 88 to 06, I think, or 87. Not sure. This one does run. It has a DG expansion tank on it, but no DG silencer. So, you know, obviously those will go together. I'm thinking about putting his engine on this chassis with these plastics because they're not spray painted or anything. His are all spray painted and stuff. So, you know, I'm not really a fan of spray painted plastics, but you know, that was the deal though. We're going to make one good one out of the two. That frame is like spray painted pretty poorly too. Somebody never even taped anything off or took it apart or anything. They just winged it. But this engine does run. This one has an OEM carburetor on it that is in good working order. It sounds like the big end bearing on the crank is like just shot on this thing. Like it runs, but you hear it's like tick, 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 tick. I don't even want to bother firing it up. It does fire right up though. First kick, even ice cold, fires right up. Well, after a prime kick, obviously. But this one's got some skid plates on it. It's got A-arm skid plates. It's got this bumper on here. It's got a DG grab bar. This seat's a little ripped up, but you know, they'll swap right over. That's not a big deal. And yeah, shocks aren't spray painted like that one, but you know, let's go ahead and get these both in the garage. I want to take his wheels and engine off of that one, and then we'll pull this one in, take the engine and the wheels off of, swap the wheels over, so we can still have a rolling chassis. I'll probably just slap this engine into that one too, just so it's like, you know, all together in one piece. I'll do that off camera, but all right guys, let me start tearing off what we're using from this one, and I'll film that, and let's get going on this. Alright guys, so I got some of the stuff out of the garage. I want to get a little bit more out, but I have a game plan now, so let's talk about what we're going to do with these two blasters that we have here. Alright, so I've decided to use this chassis. This bumper is bent. So I'm not going to bother trying to bend that back. So you guys are going to come with me. We're going to go out in the shed, and I think I have a box of blaster stuff, and I'm pretty sure that there's an OEM bumper in there. You can see these fenders, the bracket that holds it. Yeah, I could bend it back, but the one on this is nice and straight, so we're going to use that. Obviously, the engine that his son says he rebuilt on that one is going to go on here. We're going to use the full DG exhaust. These plastics, his seat, the one on the bottom there, because the other one's got, I mean, his has a rip in it too, but the other one has more rips in it. I want to get this one cleaned up. We'll start taking the plastics off of it, and I want to take these stickers and everything off of here. We'll throw some new grips on for them. We'll clean this thing up. I'm going to touch up the frame where some of the paint's missing. I have paint that actually matches that very well. This way it looks like a, you know, it'll look decent when he comes to pick it up. What else? Yeah, his tires. And I thought his shocks were spray painted, but they just have some overspray on them. So we're going to put the white shocks on this quad. So, you know, it matches the plastics and everything. It'll look pretty good when it's done. But let's go take a look out in the shed and see if I have a spare OEM bumper. All right, so here we are out in my nightmare of a shed here. We got our 400EX from the live stream the other night. And as a matter of fact, you guys let me know, man. I had a blast doing that live stream the other night. I thought it was cool. It was a good idea, something I've never seen anybody do before. I have other 400EXs that you guys haven't seen. So if you guys like a live stream like that, where we figure out what's wrong with the quad together and go through it live, I'm definitely down for doing that again. If you haven't seen that yet, go back and check it out, man. It was cool. It was like an hour and 15 minutes long, which wasn't too bad. I thought it was going to be a lot longer than that with the issues that quad, or this quad right here, could have had. But, all right, what did we come out here for? A blaster bumper, right? All right, so over here I have piles of Yamaha parts. That's TRX 450R 0405. There's a TRX 450R kickstart engine, OEM blaster parts, Banshee parts, piles of plastics. I don't even know how I'm going to get over to this thing. I think it's over here though. So we got to step over all this stuff because I ain't pulling it all out, that's for sure. Go ahead and stand on my Suzuki seat. Let's see here. If I remember correctly, it was over here somewhere. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Yep, we have an OEM blaster bumper and some, that's a 450R steering stem. Actually, we might need that for this 400EX because somebody did a little backyard stick welding and made a lengthened steering stem on this thing, so that's got to go. But all right, let me dig this bumper out, guys, and we'll go back in the garage and let's get started on this thing. So here we are, guys. I took the gas tank and the plastics off of the quad so far. I took that bent DG bumper off of there. Next thing I'm going to start doing here, actually, when I take stuff like this apart, guys, especially when I'm trying to do this quick, I'll just put all the bolts right back where they go. Also, when I'm touching up the frame, I'll touch up the bolts too at the same time. Keep in mind, guys, this isn't like one of my normal builds where every single detail and every single part gets refurbished. This is literally just take the two and make one good one, a little bit of touch-up work. That's it. So, you know, you guys know how my normal stuff usually is. I'm polishing nuts and bolts and all kinds of stuff normally. But like I said, this is just a wham bam, see you later, man type of deal. Next thing I'm going to start taking off of this is the rear caliper doesn't work on this, which if I'm not mistaken, I believe these have a problem usually with the rear brakes, these blasters with the cable brake system. 03 to 06, I believe, had the disc brake, or the hydraulic disc brakes on them. This is obviously the older model with the cable brakes. So this rear caliper is just shot. The one that's on that quad looks fairly new, but it's OEM. It's not an aftermarket one. Also, these pegs, this peg here is slightly bent, like somebody hit something with it, so those are going to come off too. But next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the exhaust off, which on this quad it looks like, yeah, that exhaust has a repair on it too, so I'm probably not going to use this on what he's getting. He's probably going to get the OEM exhaust on there, which I'll clean up the quad's going to look decent. So don't think I'm just going to you know, boogie rig everything together. We're going to, you know, we are going to do it the right way. I even have, you know, my manual just in case we need something from it, but, you know, I'm the one taking these both apart, so usually if I take it apart, I can put it back together. UFO, quad, don't matter. If I take it apart, I can put it back together 99.9% of the time. So yeah, so the exhaust, you got the one bracket up here which wasn't even bolted in. There's no springs on it, and then it's just connected at the silencer. So next thing I'm going to take off is the silencer, the grab bar, and then the expansion tank, and then we'll get into pulling the carb off of this thing, putting in the ultrasonic. Sorry, I didn't know you guys weren't in the frame there. Taking the carb off, putting in the ultrasonic cleaner, cleaning that up, and then we'll pull the engine out and get these nasty shocks and tires off of here after the exhaust. Check back in with you. Exhaust, the silencer, and the expansion tank are off. So I'm going to start setting you guys up on the tripod and doing this stuff with yous, but I'm going to, well, next thing I'm going to do, I'm not even going to mess with this rusted ass master link, guys. I'm just going to take a cut off wheel and just cut this chain off of here because it's trash, obviously. What else here? I'm going to take the carb off. We'll start getting that cleaned. I'm just going to take the slide out and then take it off from the intake boot. What else? Yeah, I'm gonna crack all these bolts loose, and then I'll put you guys on a tripod and we'll pull this engine out together. Also have to disconnect the wiring here from the stator. Normally I would take a picture of something like this so we know what goes where, but you can see it's 4 wires. Each one's a different color. You have a solid black, black with a red stripe, a white with a red stripe, and a yellow with a red stripe that go to the corresponding colors, so there's really no guesswork there. What else here? Same deal as before, guys. Put all the bolts back from the parts that I took off, so we don't have to worry about keeping track of stuff. Then after the engine, we'll probably, I might leave the shocks on it for right now, but when we get the engine out, I'm going to take this thing outside and power wash everything off so we can touch the frame up. And yeah, that's pretty much where we stand. So far, this thing is just, you know, other than a few rusty bolts and stuff, you know, being corroded and whatnot and dirty, because this, you know, I didn't even wash this quad yet, guys. I think I got this thing like, I don't even remember when, the end of December, the beginning of January, something like that, but it's literally just sat here. I think I rode it once. Like I said, the compression's shitty, and the one of the rod bearings is shot, so you hear it tick, 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 slapping up and down. It sounded pretty violent, but it still did run. All the gears work, so we got a good transmission here. I'll probably just sell that. I don't really need it here, so you know, I'm kind of excited to throw a 400EX engine in one of these, which actually looks like it might not be too bad to do. The only problem I could see is if the spacing, how the spacing works out, where the pivot bolt goes through the engine on the 400EX. But I mean, as you guys can see, we could probably just take some of this part of the swing arm off, but I mean, we'll figure that out when we get to that, when we cross that bridge. So all right, let me crack all these bolts free and I'll set you guys up on the tripod and we'll pull the engine together. I already started. I sprayed this carburetor down, guys, after I pulled it out, but I didn't like really scrub it yet. I wanted to give you guys a good look at how this thing looks before it like goes in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'll usually pre-soak it first with LA's Totally Awesome degreaser, but yeah, you guys can get a good look at how disgusting and caked up this thing is and how good it comes out from the ultrasonic cleaner. Any of you guys that are curious what I use in the ultrasonic cleaner, take a wild guess. LA's Totally Awesome and water. I usually put like one whole bottle of this stuff in there with some water and then just let it do its thing. So I'll show you guys this when it's done in a little bit. So just remember how nasty this thing looked. Alright guys, I think I got everything disconnected to where I could pull this engine out now. One thing to note, probably, I have the pivot bolt pulled out enough to where it's only holding this half of the swing arm, and I have a half a bolt, or I mean, I'm sorry, a punch in the other side just to keep the swing arm aligned. What else did I have to disconnect? I had to disconnect the clutch. That was it. I'm going to try and pull it out from this side. I may have to regroup, but it should come right out. Yeah, she's gonna come right out. All right, so one blaster engine right here. Let me put this over here, take you guys off the tripod. We'll get a look at what we're doing next here. Bear with me for a second. All right, so engine out, complete, running blaster engine. Needs a bearing and a top end, but you know, that's typical stuff anyway. All right, so let's see here. I'm probably going to take the electronics off of the quad, the kill switch, light control. I'm probably going to pull the light off because he didn't have a light on his quad anyway. What else here? Yeah, I'm going to pull a wire harness out, and then let's push this thing outside, guys. We'll pick up there. I'm going to power wash all the nastiness off of this thing so we can get back to starting to put stuff on it after I touch the frame up. So don't go nowhere yet. We're going to do this all in one video. At least that's the plans anyway. I'm sure something will throw a wrench into the plans, but you know, that's just the stuff you got to deal with. Good thing though, we have a whole nother blaster here, so we should be okay. We should be okay. Chances of two being bad of a lot of things are probably pretty good, but you know, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. So you know, obviously, like I said, whatever was bad on this is good on that, and some stuff that's good on here was good on there, and we'll find out what's bad on here is also bad on there, I'm sure, pretty damn soon. Why did I just say that? Jesus, man. All right, guys, let me take this wire harness off of here, which really isn't too much of a wire harness. Yeah, we got the little bit where it hooked up to the stator and the Tors, and the rear brake light, and then this jungle gym of wires up here, which probably isn't as bad as it looks. So I'm going to get all these OEM little straps off of here, and yeah, then we'll get this thing outside and let's clean this puppy up, and then we can start putting good shit on here. Like after we touch the frame up, like I said, obviously we'll swap the shocks out and then the tires, and we can get to putting it back together. Wasn't too bad. All right, so here we are outside, guys, in the daylight. You guys can see I started hitting this with the power washer. I'm like, dude, I gotta get this on camera real quick and show you guys how nasty this friggin' thing is. You can see all the caked up oil and stuff everywhere. So I'm gonna pre-rinse this, and then I'm gonna use, take a guess, shut up over there, power washer. LA is totally awesome, and then probably do it 2 or 3 times to get this thing nice and spick and span, and then I'll show you guys when it's done. I'm not gonna set it up so you guys can watch power washing. It's not too entertaining. I think I'm gonna do one more round of cleaning this, guys. It came out pretty decent, and while I had the power washer out, look at the powder coat on this frame I got laying around, man, for a 400EX. Figured I'd wash it while I had all the stuff out here, because I want to use this frame for that 440 that we, well, alleged 440, you know, because allegedly had a stage 2 hot cam in it too, but didn't, had an OEM cam. Anyway, typical shit, lied to from people on Marketplace. But, yeah, we're going to use this frame for that quad. And I got some A-arms and stuff too. I want to do a certain color. I'm not going to tell you guys what yet, but, yeah, it's used. It's an old powder coat, but it still looks primo. Yeah, I'm going to do one more rinse down on this thing. I pulled the other quad into the garage over there, and start stripping some of the stuff off of that we need, like the engine, tires, shocks, blah, 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 blah. And we'll get underway here. And as you guys heard me say before, my brother moved back to New Jersey, so you guys are going to get to meet him later on in this video. He's going to come give me a hand, because I got to get this stuff done by tomorrow, like night. Today's Thursday. And they want to go ride this quad this weekend. So, typical fashion, I waited till the very last minute. So, we'll see. That's usually when I do my best work, though, under pressure. So, we'll see how it works out. Keep watching. Don't mind the distortion here for a second, guys, but I wanted you to see, like, how this stuff works. It's going to mess the microphone up, but it looks like there's smoke in the water. All right, guys, so it's now nighttime. Got the other chassis cleaned up. I got this red and black abomination in the garage now. My brother just showed up. We just pulled the engine off of this. I did the same thing, obviously. I did the other one. It's the same quad, so I'm not going to show you the same shit twice. We're debating on whether or not to use these shocks or just clean up the other ones because, I mean, there's a lot of overspray on these to where it's going to... It just doesn't make sense, but you guys get to meet my brother. Just moved back from back to New Jersey. So here's my brother. His name's Jay.
What's up?
What do we do? Jay came out here to give me a hand with this stuff, guys. You guys are gonna get to see him in a couple videos. But yeah, that's where we're at now. I still got to take the tires and the rear brake system off of this quad, and that's about it. I mean, if we forget something, obviously it's not going anywhere. It's still here. And for any of you guys that are wondering, the engine that came off of the white and blue one will be up for sale. If it's something that interests you, it's pretty much a good transmission. It's going to need a top end and either the wrist pin bearing or the big end bearing. But I mean, if you're going to do a top end on something, you're probably going to, you know, do a crank and all that stuff anyway. But the trans is good. No leaks, no cracks, no damage to it at all. So if you guys need a blaster, complete engine or just a bottom end, drop a comment down there. Heads up, it's going to be pretty much what they're going for on eBay. You know, I usually give people a little bit better deal than that, just to off the stuff, but drop a comment if that's something you're interested in, or any of the other parts that I might not use when we put the 400EX engine on one of these chassis. You know, like the wire harness, simple little stuff like that. Drop a comment. If it's not for sale, I'll just tell you it's not. If it is, I'll let you guys know a price. Let's get going with the rest of this stuff. Stay tuned. All right, guys, got everything we needed off the black and red one. We got this one in here now. My brother's going to town, cleaning up the knuckles and stuff. I'm going to take some of the stuff off that we don't want to get overspray on, just because, you know, it will end up, might as well just leave it the way it is if we're, you know, just going to wing shit. So definitely do want it to look pretty good when it's done for what it is. Like I said, guys, this isn't one of my normal things. It's just, like I said, slapping something together, make it better than the two were in the one. So yeah, we're working on that. We're gonna start taking off the other hubs and stuff, and this right hub that was on the front of this one was kind of shot, had a bunch of play in it, so we took the one off of the other quad, which is in good shape. You know, we'll do those all so they match too throughout the quad, but that's where we're at. So we're gonna start touching everything up, moving stuff out of our way, and I'll pick back up with you guys after we touch everything up and let you see what it looks like before it goes back together. Alright guys, so I started touching the frame up. Like I said, I'm not stripping this whole thing. I know you guys probably heard me say this about 15 times already, but, you know, I just want to make it clear, we're just touching stuff up. So you can see how this frame's got all this rub on it. I mean, the quad is, you know, 23, 24 years old. So here's the other side. Ended up taking a swing arm off and stuff, but, I mean, got rid of all that rub. This is only one coat. I might dust one more on there, but this silver is pretty damn close. If you guys want, I will show you. Oh, well, obviously you're probably going to want. Let me see here. So this is that Krylon Fusion paint, and this is metallic aluminum, and it's like, I dusted it like up to here, and you can't even like see a pitch change. Or I mean, if you probably look real close, the metallics probably don't match up. There's probably more like in the factory Yamaha silver. I think I want to say alien silver, but I'm not sure, man. Like, as you guys know, I'm not a Yamaha guy, but I mean, it's definitely gonna look a hell of a lot better than it did. But just so you guys know, this is pretty much the direction I'm taking this. We're just touching stuff up and sending it down the road, so it looks decent. These A-arms, yeah, that lower bottom bolt to that front shock is literally seized to the inner bushing. Tried an air hammer, tried breaker bar, tried impact gun. It is not busting free. I have other A-arms. Might do the A-arms and the swing arm like a different color. Not sure. Kind of wanted to keep it simple, but you guys know me by now. I kind of get carried away with shit. So let me go ahead and complicate this a little bit more. Probably just silver though. So let me get back to it. Alright guys, it is now the next day, Friday. Technically, I was trying to get this quad done for Friday night. I mean, they're pretty basic. I got to move on to touching up the front end. Me and my brother were out here till about 1:30 in the morning. Couldn't do it anymore. I had this girl over and she brought her daughter with her, and she's like 1.5 years old, so really hadn't got that much sleep the past few days, if you know what I mean, and not for any good reasons. But whatever. It is what it is. So this is where we left off. I got the whole rear part of the frame touched up on both sides. I got to move on to the front end. Touched up the yellow on the spring, you know, kind of, you know, without taking it apart, in my opinion, kind of, you know, the right way. Everything's taped off, and even the center in between the shocks. I bought this tool to take springs off of, you know, like a McPherson style strut, but the clamp part that goes on the spring is a little too large to fit on this smaller diameter shock. It doesn't fit up right. And then I was going to do it with the ratchet strap method, but it would have messed the paint back up after. If you're wondering, yes, spray paint does stick to springs and it will flex if you prep it the right way. You got to take it down to bare metal, hit it with etching primer, and it does flex. If you guys don't believe me, look at some of the shocks on these other quads that people got overspray on and attempted to spray. It does stick. Even with people just doing it like willy-nilly or whatever you want to call it, the way that some of these have been done on some of the quads that I've picked up recently. You know, it does work if you do the prep. So, all right, I got to get on to cleaning the front end of this frame now. So just so you guys can see, this is what we're looking like. So go ahead and get a good look at all this stuff, and you'll see how it comes out after. It's going to look just as good as the rear does. But while we're in here, no, that is not to my LT250R. This is an 87 RM 250 bottom end. My buddy apparently left it sitting outside, but yeah, check this out, guys. These are supposed to be damn near touching each other here, and that is the rod. Yeah, so, I'd really like to know how that happened. But here is our carburetor, if you guys want to see how clean this has been coming out. This is the same one that was covered in all kinds of nastiness and everything, so it's coming out pretty damn good. Let's go ahead and leave that in there for now. And, all right, let me get cracking on getting this front end cleaned up, which I'm really just not looking forward to it, man. This is just, you know, I'm just not into it. Not into it today. I'm not feeling it, you know? And I got a late start, too, so I already feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. But it is what it is. It's got to get done. It's got to get out of my way. We got other stuff that we're doing here on the channel and stuff for myself. And we also... I have another quad I got to build for a customer right after this. I'm waiting on a few parts to come in, but you guys remember the quad that my friend Jesse dropped off. He's a subscriber. The 05 400EX, the yellow one. I got to build a 426 for him. I got all the engine stuff here, waiting on some other stuff that I had to order, and then we can get started on that too. And then it's back to our stuff. Stay tuned. Let me do the stuff that I'm really not trying to do right now. Check back in with you after. So here's the frame, like I said, just touched up, got rid of all that, you know, surface rust and everything that you could just blatantly see everywhere. So now what I'm going to do, I got to prep the expansion tank and the silencer because I got some rust on them. So I'm just going to scuff those up, put some new high heat black on it so they look decent. While those are drying, I also have to touch up the swing arm. And what else? What else am I going to do? While that stuff's drying, I'm going to put the wire harness back on and start getting whatever I can get out of my way taken care of. This way we can start putting this pig back together. I'm probably going to degrease the engine. Well, I'm definitely going to degrease the engine. It's got, you know, it's a little nasty looking, so that's what I'm doing next. So let me start getting this stuff prepped up. I gotta find the bolts to put the rear shock back on, and what else? That's pretty much it, guys. Put the carburetor back together. I'll show you guys that in the next scene while all that other stuff is drying. Pick back up, you guys. Stay tuned. Alrighty, wire harness is back on. Rear shock is hanging there, ready for this swing arm that I just touched up. I'm gonna do one more light dusting on that. There's a couple spots that didn't take too well with the new silver. I have the factory silencer and the expansion tank, all high heat black, ready to go. Those are done. Just letting them chill out for a little bit. This engine that came on the quad that actually was his that he rebuilt. You guys can see it's got guys can see it's got like a new cylinder. You can see the new reed gaskets. That's what are those? That's Chinese green, I think they call those gaskets. His chain guard is like this. I gotta look at the one on the other engine and see if it's in better shape. If it is, I'll swap that out after I degrease this stuff. And that's about it. I gotta strip the bumper and paint that a certain color. I'm not sure if I want to do that blue or yellow or just silver or black. Not really sure. I gotta grab his uni filter out of his and put it on the white rear plastics. That rear shock came out good. It was all rusty. Looks decent for what it is. And you got the yellow and the Pro Taper. That matches up pretty good. Had some new grips on the shelf we'll throw on this thing. And let's see, what is next here? When the swing arm dries, I'm going to get that in with 2 half bolts so I can slide the engine in after I degrease it, of course. And we'll pretty much be on the home stretch after that. Alright guys, I'm going to switch directions up a little bit here while some of this other stuff is drying. I don't like to handle stuff too quick. This paint actually dries really fast to where I mean, you could touch it, but you can't really handle the stuff. But what am I doing here? All right, so I started cleaning up this front OEM bumper I have, and I want to start getting the plastics prepped. So they're actually in really nice shape. They just got a lot of stickers on them. So I'm going to start removing all these stickers like with a heat gun, and then I'm going to scrub these down real good. I'm not going to do my like restoration stuff to them. It's not what this is. Just going to get these cleaned up this way. They're ready to go. I have the rear fenders in the garage still. Like I said, I got to take the uni filter out of the other plastics. And what else? Expansion tank looking good. Motor cleaned up a little bit. Not as much as I would normally like, but you know, I had RTV caked up where all the seams were from somebody working on it. This thing's got some overspray on it, but like I said, I'm going to see if I have that other stator cover with the chain guard in there. If I don't have, if the other one's not in better shape, I'll just clean this cut up a little bit so it doesn't look like somebody just broke it off of there. What else? Yeah, got a lot of the grease off. Some of this other stuff, I might degrease this one more time just to get a little bit cleaner. And as soon as I'm done cleaning up the plastics, I'll show you guys the plastics, and then I want to start putting the swing arm on. And it's pretty much, there ain't really much to these. It's not that bad. I'm thinking about doing the hubs, the front and rear hubs, either a blue to match the plastics, or I might do them yellow to tie that in too. Just you know, make it look a little, you know, like a little something. That's all. So, all right, let me get to stripping all those stickers off of those old plastics. And I'm also going to clean up here a little bit. This way I can start getting into reassembly mode a little bit better. I'm getting a little lost looking for shit that I put down and forget where I put it. I don't know why that always happens, man. I'll have something in my hand, and then like 2 seconds later I'll turn around and I'll be like a friggin' gnome ran up and stole it or something when I wasn't looking. Just disappears off the face of the earth. All right, back at it. All right, guys, so I'm going to call it a night at this point. We'll pick back up in the morning. So in the morning, I'm going to come out here. I'm going to straighten up. Real quick before I end the evening, I pulled the engine in, and I just set it in the frame and put one of the motor mount bolts in it. This way I can get ready to put the swing arm on tomorrow, and it's like all downhill from there. I still got to do the hubs and the front bumper. But I mean, that I could do, you know, I'll probably do that first tomorrow. This way that stuff's good and dry by the time we go to set this thing down on wheels. Plastics cleaned up pretty good. I'm going to clean out. I got to take that air filter out of there, like I said, like 35 times already. But I got to clean under that and everything. There's a bunch of dirt in there and where the toolkit normally goes. Another thing I'll show you guys tomorrow is these blue plastics are known for getting these white stress marks on them. I'll show you a quick, easy little trick on how to make those disappear. It does work with, you know, red plastics, blue plastics, yellow plastics, but for some reason it seems to work better with blue plastics, like the Yamaha blue plastics. It's really simple. You can do it for like 15 bucks. You gotta go buy a heat gun. And be careful with it, you know, because you can mess it up. You guys heard me do that and seen me do it before in other videos, but on the blue plastics, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about pretty clearly on camera, how that stuff cleans up real good, gets rid of those stress cracks. But anyway, yeah, like I said, engine's set in there. I got the wire harness on like I did before, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. It is now the next day. Not too far off here, guys. I wasn't even really going to make this video, but I was like, you know what? Let me just film this stuff, which actually made it take even longer to do, obviously. Here's where we're at right now and what I got to do next on this thing. So I got the swing arm. I just put that on. I hooked the shock up. None of the bolts are tight yet. Everything obviously went back together with anti-seize. I have to run the front brake cable, which I have right there. I want to take that clear cover off and put some white lithium grease or some regular grease in there so it's got a little smoother action. The carburetor had no vent lines. All I had here extra was red, so I just did that up real quick. Carb came out pretty good. Yeah, I polished the bowl and I cleaned up the surfaces where the boots go on, front and back, and a little bit of the top of the carb, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm wasting my time. What else is left? I got to put the front brakes back on, the hubs, the front brake cable, and then I got to tighten up these bolts on the rear. What else is left? Wire harness is all on and buttoned up, zip tied up to the frame. I gotta secure it up here a little bit. I don't like running zip ties around, you know, the painted part of the frame because it'll just rub off. So it's pretty good here. It has that factory metal bracket or metal stay for right here. So it's pretty decent. I might just throw a zip tie like up here just to hold it and kind of hide it so you don't see it. Stator's hooked up. I hooked up the Torque system. Put the ignition on, the coil, all that's hooked up. Everything else wire-wise and wire harness-wise is done. I'm trying to find out if I have another vent tube for this because this one kind of looks shitty, but you know, if I don't, it just is what it is. I'll keep it tucked up under the tank and stuff so the vent can run up to the front where it was originally. And then what else do we have, guys? I gotta put the wheels on. I still gotta put the foot pegs and the rear brake system, and then we can start putting the plastics on this pig. No, I didn't change the air filter yet, but I'll get to it, I promise. Actually, now that I just say that, I do have to pull that apart. I want to clean out the rest of that stuff like I said last night. So what else is left? The exhaust still has to go on, and I have to do something with that bumper. I'm probably just gonna paint it silver because any other color would kind of look stupid. I wanted to paint like the main section silver, and then like maybe this blue to match the plastics, or yellow to match the springs. I was gonna paint the hubs, but I really don't have the time, guys. So I'm just gonna touch up the little bit of black that's on there so it looks decent, and get this thing back together real quick because it's got to go. So if you guys still watching this video, thank you for sticking with me through this one. I've been kind of putting this off, man. There's just so much stuff, but it's got to get out of my way. This one came before Jesse's build, so this one has to go first. Then I have Jesse's build, the 426EX that I got to do. Waiting on a couple more parts for that to come in. I want to have everything here all at one shot and just bang. Like maybe 2 or 3 videos will put that whole quad together. And I got to put a 400EX or possibly something else together for another subscriber, a buddy of mine, Movie Films, or Movie Did It, sorry. You guys will see him in the comments section. But, you know, I'm not really sure what direction we're going with that yet, but that's all takeoff parts are going to go into that quad. So, kind of similar to this, but, you know, it's going to be a 400EX. So, naturally, I'm going to put a little more love into it. Stay tuned, guys. Let me start prepping up this brake line cable and get everything in, and I'll check back in with you. Front brake line cable is in. I took that clear plastic lid off of there. Got plenty of WD-40 down the lines, lubricate all that stuff, and then I put a bunch of white lithium grease in there. Put the cover back on. That's all mounted. These have to go through these little brackets like that are on the A-arms on here. It's a little bit of a little pain in the ass to get it together, but you know, it is what it is. The rear brake is on with the foot peg. That's all set up. Those are all torqued down. I have to go steal a foot peg bolt off of the other chassis for the left side foot peg. Let's see here. I went against what I said I wasn't going to do, and I got those hubs painted yellow. Those are drying right now. Not even going to touch the rears. That's just how it is. That's it. Let's see, what am I going to do next? Next, I tightened the rear shock bolts already, or the upper shock bolt. The lower one's just a pin with a cotter pin and a washer. I have to tighten the pivot bolt and the other 2 motor mount bolts, and then I'm going to put the exhaust on, and then I'm going to finally do what I said I was going to do with those rear plastics and get that ready, and we can start mounting that stuff, getting the gas tank on. I might put the gas tank on. Well, no, I'm going to have to put that on for the carburetor. I'll put those on in the gas tank. And this engine, so the guy that owns this quad, well, it was the other Blaster, but this was the engine that was in the other one. I've never even heard this run before. He had a problem with it. He says it ran, but it didn't run well because he had a Chinese carburetor on it. Tor's delete was just not even done. It was just the Tor's system itself was just taken off the carb with a regular slide and cap. So pretty much banking on this engine actually running like he says it did. So I guess we're gonna find out. Hopefully it does. I really don't have time, and it's really not in his budget to tear into this engine and see what's wrong, if anything is. So all right, so that's where we're at. I'm going to start putting the exhaust on. Like I said, it's got to get fished in from the left side, goes around the frame and everything, and then just 2 bolts there with a gasket. So all right, let me start doing that, guys, and I will check back in with you, and we're pretty much almost done here. All right, guys, we're rounding third base here. Got one of the hubs on. I put the tank and the plastics on, or the tank cover and front grill. Put 1 sticker back on it. Well, actually 2 stickers back on it. Gotta have it from front and back. This exhaust all touched up, man. It makes a huge difference. Just, obviously getting rid of surface rust and everything like that. But I still have to tighten the pivot bolt. I gotta put the chain on, put this thing on wheels. I just turned the petcock on to get fuel in the bowl. Let that do its thing for a few minutes, and keep your guys' fingers crossed, man, because I honestly have not heard this engine that the guy said his kid rebuilt. This is English, right? You guys understand what I'm saying? I don't know if this thing runs, and if it doesn't, we're screwed. But for the time being, anything could be fixed, obviously. All right, let me get this thing on wheels, and then I'll put it outside and let's give this thing a few kicks and see what's up. It does have spark. I checked that before I put the tank on because it's way easier to do it now. I still got to put the rear plastics on and switch the damn air filter for the 9 millionth time. Yeah. All right. Let me get back to it. We'll come back when I got this thing on wheels. All right, guys. So here it is. Just blasted through the rest of this. I got to put together. I still got to do the bumper, but this guy's going to be here soon. Not even going to ride the thing. As long as it runs, it's good. Good to go. He said he might have a problem with the clutch, so if there is, I'm just going to do that off camera just to get rid of it, get this over with. But anyway, quad came out all right, man. Looks a hell of a lot better. So there's one way to take 2 junk blasters and make 1 decent one. I tried to get this done sooner so you guys could see it more in the daylight, but you guys see what's going on here. It ain't no showpiece, but there it is. Let me, yo, Jay, can you start this thing real quick on camera? It's ice cold, probably. Clutch is out, or the choke is out. Starts right up, so that's half the battle. Cool. Anyway, guys, thank you for sticking through this video. I will see you guys in the next one. If you have not yet, please do subscribe. Throw me a thumbs up. Keep in mind, guys, this isn't one of my normal nut and bolt restoration full-on builds. I've said it before, but this is like low on the totem pole of stuff that I like to do. I almost didn't even enjoy doing it because I didn't get to polish and refurbish and do everything that I wanted to do. But it is what it is, man. That's the budget only allows what the budget allows. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up that you definitely should have hit. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I don't know what we're going to be working on next. We got to start Jesse's 426 build, and I I got to get those carburetors done for that Raptor 660 because that thing has to leave. And we also have that 440 that we fixed in the live stream last weekend. So I got some plans for that. And I got a bunch of stuff here for that already. So it's going to be all leftover parts and stuff just for a beater and a rider. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace. All right, guys. So the guy came to pick up the Blaster. I went to go put it in gear and it does not engage at all. His words to me were that they rode it a little bit before it came into my possession. We're about to pull the clutch cover off of this thing. And one, I want to get it on film just because. Two, it's more stuff we got to do to this quad to get it out the door. So it is still here. My brother came over. He's going to give me a hand because I'm just like done with this thing. Yeah, I don't like, I feel like I was being rushed and I don't like that. Not a big deal. It is what it is. Maybe I should have started doing it sooner. But anyway, we're about to pull the clutch cover off now. So I got my brother here. You guys met my brother Jay before. So he said he wanted to jump in, start doing this. So this is what we're doing right now. When we go to pull the clutch cover off, I will film that so we can see all this for the first time. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we got all the bolts out, ready to pull this clutch cover off.
Pull this pump off?
That should be okay. That should not even like be there anymore, but he didn't even get the oil injection delete kit. They just plugged it off. All right, let's see what we got going on here.
There was no oil in it, bro. There's no liquid in it whatsoever.
Sweet. So
look at this. This is like, here, I'm trying to say here.
So this is first looks at it here, guys. At least the gasket stayed intact because I don't have another gasket here. Alright, so we're going to dig into this a little bit, guys, and then I'll film when we find out what the issue here is. Alright, guys, so the case is pretty obvious here why this clutch is not engaging.
I bet you there's no springs under these things right here.
Yeah, that's what I said to them out there. It feels like there's no friggin' return springs. So, I mean, you guys let me know if I'm crazy here, but
Gosh, throw this in gear.
Them riding this, I don't think was the case.
There was no oil in it.
I'll have to double check. We might be missing a clutch fiber here. We might be missing a clutch disc, or I don't even see metals in between it, dude. Is there metals in there? Yeah, there's plates. It's missing a disc and a fiber.
Okay.
I'm gonna double check the manual, guys, because I don't know these Yamahas like this, but I'll get back to you. All right, guys, so we figured out what the issue was here. Actually, one of the bolts was broke off in the pressure plate, clutch boss, like where they screw into the towers to hold the outer pressure plate together. And on the Yamaha, you got five bolts with springs, and it has to go on it has to be clocked a certain way because it also has the grooves inside of the pressure plate to slip over the grooves where the plates, not the fibers, the metal plates slide onto those grooves. They are also cut into the pressure plate itself. So if it's not on the right bolt pattern, like out of the 5, you get 20% chance. Nice. You get. Let me see that real quick, Jay. I had a bolt broke off inside. Which one was it, Jay? It was broke off inside there, deep in there too. So, you know, that's a thing there. You know, you can't just put 4 springs on the clutch. It won't disengage evenly. It would come out like crooked, you know. So anyway, like I was saying, the grooves are cut into the pressure plate to fit onto the inner clutch boss. So, or I guess you would call it, like if it was a car, it would be the flywheel, the outer part's pressure plate, and you got the friction discs. So it fits in there only one way, and it was on the wrong one. So the pressure plate itself was actually smacking into the inner hub and not letting it compress the fibers all the way together. So listen, you can lie to me till you're blue in the face. There's no way you rode this quad that this engine was on before it came here. There's no way, unless you're on like a steep hill, you know, like a soapbox derby. But all right, we're gonna start putting this thing back together, guys. Tomorrow morning I will ride this thing around, and being it's still here, we're gonna have time now. I might as well get a video. We'll go take it for a rip in the woods real quick, double check everything, which, you know, should happen anyway. Stay tuned. We already ended the video earlier, but it is what it is. These are just the fun parts. All right, guys, so here's where we stand with this. The clutch is just completely fried. So I'm gonna call the owner of the quad in the morning, gonna have to order a clutch kit. I've seen the cheap billet replacement baskets, and you can get the inner and outer hub for like $50, and the other parts for like $100 and some. I'm gonna see what he says. So we're just gonna go ahead and end the video here, guys. I'll do a second video on this when we go to throw the new clutch in with some of the parts I was just telling you about. Let me know down in the comments if you guys want to see that. It's pretty simple procedure, but we're gonna change all that stuff. So it'll be putting a billet basket in and everything like that. You know, they make that stuff cheap enough now to where it's like, why not do it while you're in there? So for the second time in this video, let's go ahead and end this video. Don't forget to throw me a thumbs up. If you have not yet, please do subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Next time in the garage, it's either gonna be this or the other 400EX. There's a ton of stuff that's gotta get done. I'll see you guys next time.